Developing tonight, Florida's death penalty sentencing law is in limbo. The state Supreme Court ruled today that all 12 jurors on a case have to vote for the death penalty, otherwise it won't stick. The justices struck down an old law, which means lawmakers in Tallahassee have to go back to the drawing board. More about it is criminal defense attorney Whitney Boan. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with what exactly did the state Supreme Court say on this?
What they said is that the current structure of the statute that governs the death penalty in Florida is unconstitutional because while it was previously requiring 10-2 in terms of to give the death penalty, 10 out of 12 jurors needed to find that that person deserved the death penalty. Now it's become where it's required that it will be unanimous.
A unanimous decision by the jury.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens to the people who were convicted or sentenced to death under the old law?
Well, the Florida Supreme Court hasn't really spoken on that. It's actually not something they addressed in the opinion. I personally believe it's likely that they won't have their convictions and their sentences overturned. And really, they wouldn't have their convictions overturned anyways. This is a sentencing issue. But I find it unlikely that that would be changed. But it's really kind of unclear at this point.
Yeah, and there are probably people who are, on trial right now. Yeah. What do you think a judge is going to do in this case while we basically have no law in the state right now?
I think that any criminal defense attorney like myself who went into court and said, we need to wait and see what the legislature does and see what happens at this point and how we move forward, I think most judges would probably go along with that.
Do you think?
And give more time.
Yeah, Whitney, do you think this is going to be the beginning of the end of the death penalty here in the state of Florida?
I don't know. I certainly hope so. I would like this to be a move in that direction. We've already had some changes to the death penalty over the past year as a result of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision. So I would like that to happen. I think it's possible that we're starting to move that direction, but I think that we're certainly not moving there at a quick pace.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. Whitney Boan, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate it. There are 385 inmates on Florida's death row right now. Stay with Fox 35 News and Fox35Orlando.com for the latest on when lawmakers return to Tallahassee to pass a new law about Florida's death penalty sentencing law.